The comic book world is replete with must-have titles. Your Amazing Fantasy number 15, featuring the debut of Spider-Man. Your Action Comics number 1, the debut of Superman. But few are as important as Batman number 1. Batman is easily one of the most recognizable characters in all of fiction and has appeared in countless comic books, television shows, cartoons, and films over 82 years that have cemented the Caped Crusader in popular culture. It is safe to say that without the success of the 1989 Batman film starring Michael Keaton that proved the viability of superhero films on the big screen, we might not have a Marvel Cinematic Universe or a DC Extended Universe today. Although the above-mentioned titles of Amazing Fantasy 15 and Action Comics number 1 are important, without the success of Batman in his own solo title, we would not have the current comic book landscape we all enjoy today. Of all the iconic covers and issues, few, if any, are as iconic as Batman number 1. The image of Batman and Robin swinging to action high above Gotham City set the tone for the dynamic duo and gave readers a hint as to the excitement that was contained within. Hungry for more superheroes after the success of Superman in Action Comics number 1, editors at National Comics Publications, future DC Comics, put out a call for more superheroes for their titles. Bob Kane and collaborator Bill Finger answered the call, delivering Batman, who made his debut in Detective Comics number 27 in May of 1939. The dark and brooding story about millionaire playboy Bruce Wayne, who dons a cape and cowl and turns to a life of vigilantism in response to the traumatic death of his parents, proved wildly popular with audiences, and Batman received his own solo title in 1940. Although Batman had previously appeared in Detective Comics, this issue is where the myth of the Caped Crusader took flight. To say that this comic is jam-packed with action would be a dramatic understatement, as it features the first appearance of classic Batman villains, the Joker and Catwoman, named the Cat in this issue. The Bill Finger story begins with a 2-page origin synopsis of how Bruce Wayne became the Caped Crusader, and is followed by the first encounters with the Joker and Catwoman, two villains who would go on to beguile the world's greatest detective for over 80 years. This issue was not only noted for being the introduction of two of Batman's most iconic villains, but it also caused an outcry after Batman faced off against Hugo Strange that forever changed the course of the Caped Crusader. Batman is depicted firing a machine gun from his Batwing to stop the Monster Men, created by Strange, that were running roughshod through Gotham City. "As much as I hate to take a human life, I'm afraid this time it's necessary," Batman said in the comic, as he proceeded to kill the monsters as a last resort. The violence caused such an outcry that was so severe that DC editor Whitney Ellsworth personally spoke to Bob Kane and Bill Finger and told them that from now on, Batman would be against killing. With the introduction of Robin and the tonal contrast he brought to the comic, Ellsworth believed that it would have been in bad form to paint Batman as a role model to Robin if he resorted to killing and violence. So as much as this is the first official Batman title, it also set the tone for how Batman would be portrayed in comics and cinema for the next 80 years. This offered copy comes encapsulated and graded by CGC, who gave the comic the grade of 8.0 with white pages. As comics were printed on cheaper paper during the Golden Age, this copy has held up remarkably well. According to CGC's consensus report, only 18 copies are graded higher, making this comic all the rarer. This specific copy comes from the revered Lamont Larson collection. The Larson pedigree is one of the earliest pedigrees in the hobby and consists of over 1,000 copies from the Golden Age of comics. It is signed by Larson across the cover, which only makes this specimen all the more desirable, as signed copies from this vaunted collection are highly coveted by collectors. The back cover of this highly coveted comic contains a pinup featuring Batman and Robin. "Yours for bigger and better thrills," said Batman on the back, with Robin chiming in, "and that goes double for me." Batman number 1 is a must-have for any serious collector. This copy of Batman number 1 is graded 8.0.